Hey, thank you so much for joining the Sue Free Show. And as always, I just feel so blessed and so honored to be with you today. And today I have a special, special guest. His name is, you might know him. You might know him. Maybe, maybe not.
Probably not.
I don't know. Tim Conway Jr.
Thank you very much.
Yes,
I appreciate that.
thank you very much.
Appreciate
Yay!
that. Thank
Woo,
you.
audience is
You know what? When you and I first met, I was leaving the house, and my wife said, "Where are you going?" And I said, "I'm going to meet Sue Freeze. She's the termite lady." And she said, "Was that a new advertising?" I said, "Yeah." And she goes, "Don't refer to her as the termite lady." I go, "No, she likes that."
I do like it. I have a belt.
I do too. I think it's great.
I have a belt that says termite lady, and I'm famous. And my daughter says, "Mom, you're going to get buried with that, aren't you?" And I said, "Yes. Who else would wear it?"
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's mine. I'm trademarked,
more
actually.
More of you.
Yeah, I'm trademarked. Yeah.
But
so,
I was listening to your show. I got a lot of great advice coming out of the show. A lot of positivity. I thought was great.
Thank you. I love it.
I
love
enjoyed it. Yeah.
So for those of you that don't know who this guy is, I'm going to give you a little bio here, okay? Tim Conway was born and raised in Los Angeles and spent his childhood around Southern California racetracks.
That's right.
Such as Santa Anita, Hollywood Park, and Del Mar with his family. He began his radio career by producing his own internet radio show, which led to hosting a talk show on 97.1. I'm not familiar with the station, but KLSX.
That was a problem, that not many people were familiar with it.
Okay. And you did that for 12 years.
That's right.
I'm on 17 years right now.
Wow, okay.
I know, crazy,
You're
isn't
knocking
it?
this out.
Wow. Where he became known for covering topics like, police chases, that's exciting, Hollywood news, and current events with humor. We can never have enough humor, can we?
Hopefully.
I don't know. I love to laugh. There's something about laughing that's wonderful.
That's right.
It just really is. It's just
very healthy for you.
It's like crying. It's a release, but it's a happy one, whereas crying usually is the other way.
Right. I was Harvey Korman, who was worked on the Carol Burnett Show for many, many years. At his funeral, Vin Scully spoke, and Vin Scully said, "It's very easy to make people sad. It's very easy to make people mad. It's very difficult to make them laugh."
Yeah.
And that's true, right? I could tell you a story about make you sad. I could tell you a story to make you mad about the legislature and all this stuff, the tools they're trying to take away from you. But it's hard to make people laugh. Very difficult.
Yeah, I'm not good at it.
Because everybody has a different sense of humor. You know, somebody has a potty sense of humor, somebody's eyebrow. And
that's true.
That's tough.
I haven't figured out mine.
All right. Oh, good. Well, you shouldn't.
My family laughs at me because a lot of times jokes are said, and I'm like going, it goes right over my head. I'm like, was that funny?
Good.
Was that funny? Because I didn't think that was funny. And my sister's like, oh, that was so funny. I'm like, I didn't think that was funny. So I might be
That's fine.
Be a tough one.
That's fine. Look, you need heavy weights every once in a while. You know.
But I think of me as very light. But I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. I just don't think. And people say I'm funny, and I don't think I'm funny at all. So anyway, that's why.
All right. Well.
Yeah. Anyway. But I'm glad that you make people laugh. You help people to laugh. I think that's a wonderful thing. But I think there's a lot of pressure there, for sure.
There absolutely is, yeah. But my dad said to me, he said, you have comedy in your blood. Too bad it's not on your show.
Oh, ow.
Yeah, I'm like, what the heck's wrong with this guy?
Dad.
No, but I think comedy, like diabetes, skips a generation. So I think my kids will be hysterical.
Okay, that was funny, and I laughed. I laughed.
All right, good, okay.
That was funny.
Good start, good start.
Okay, that was funny. So then you moved to KFI 640, if you don't know that station.
That's right,
and and you continue to offer your comedic perspective on politics, gambling, and other subjects, blending history knowledge with down to earth style. Throughout his career, he has earned several honors. That's great, including a Golden Mike Award.
I don't know if that's true.
Okay.
I know it says it, but I don't think it's true. Because I was looking at that bio. I'm like, how much of this is wrong? And I think that part of it is wrong.
Really?
Yes. I think somebody put that in just to make it look like, more interesting than what I am. Yeah.
Well, I have to say, Tim, that when I said you were coming on the show, I was shocked. I mean, everybody knows who you are, and I'm just like, I feel like, oh my gosh, I should be really nervous right now.
Look, it's 30 years of being on the air in LA. It's just by default people know who you are.
Yeah.
You've been doing this for 17. People know who you are.
Some.
Yeah.
I have a very, a narrow audience, but it's a great audience and it's a big audience. But it's a certain area of life. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? So yeah, and it's great. I love it, and I feel that when you're successful in anything, there is this time change that happens from success, because I feel I am successful because everybody has to define what success is to them.
Sure.
Like my success wouldn't be the same for you that it is for me. But when we reach that level of hitting that mark that we strive to, run the race to win the prize, in the Bible it talks about that. And I feel like I've run the race and I've worked really hard, but now it's like the same thing that was important to me before is not important to me now. And now it's reached this level of I've left success. Not that I don't want that. I think it's good. My definition of success. But now it's significance. I want to move from success to significance. I want to make impact. I want to make a difference in people's lives. And so
And I think you're doing that.
I believe I am.
Yeah.
And I believe you're right. I am. I'm giving you this book, and I want to just show it. I wrote this book just recently, and it's called Why Am I Here? God is a God of second chances. And I actually, Nate and Hector, when I told them I was going to see you, said, you need to, I said, I'm going to give him this book. Do you think he might not read it? And they said, no,
I'll definitely
Sue,
read
give him the book, and you have to autograph it. So I'm like, what do I say? So I do have, but you're not going to read what I wrote. Okay,
not on
promise?
the air. Okay.
So that's your book. You can read it later.
Why am I here?
Why am
I
I-
just said that about 10 minutes ago.
Yes, you did. And what is your answer? Why are you here, Mr. Tim
I
Conway
am
Jr.?
well, and an invited guest, but not only that. I love your connection to Jesus Christ and
Thank you.
religion, and
Thank
I
you.
really enjoy that. I think
do?
there's I think there's I think the people, whether you're Jewish, Catholic, Hindu, whatever you are, I think the people who have more of an attachment to some almighty, something bigger than them, I think are people that are more peaceful. They're not stealing cars. They're not breaking into homes.
Yeah.
And I think we need more of that, not less. I really
I
do.
pray every day to be the light in the darkness.
That's
because
great,
There's
yeah.
so much darkness.
Yes, there is.
And in the Bible it talks about faith, hope, and love, and the greatest of these is love.
Yeah, and I love how quickly you can just recite the Bible, and different verses. I respect that.
Well, thank you.
I was born and raised Catholic.
Yes.
And even though I to my friends, they know it's a joke. I always tell people, if you're really serious about getting into heaven, let me talk to you a little bit about Catholicism. My mom used to say that all the time. But my mom was a very strict Catholic, where she got us kicked out of 2 parishes in the San Fernando Valley. Got kicked out of St. Mel's,
Wow.
went to Our Lady of Grace, got kicked out of Our Lady of Grace, and ended up at St. Cyril's near Sherman Oaks. And she got kicked out because she was a strict when life begins at conception, period.
Yeah.
There's no wiggle room at all.
Well, you would be right, and she's right in sync with us.
I agree. I think and then some people have a different variance, when the heartbeat, whatever. But she didn't lay off that, and I was proud that she stuck to it. And if the priest said anything during the mass that was even 1 degree off, she got into his face after the mass, and so that was awfully tense after an hour and a half.
How was that for you as a child?
Embarrassing.
Embarrassing. Yes.
Right, but we didn't know anything, right? We
Right.
were, I'm 7 years old. I didn't know
Sure.
why she was arguing with the priest.
Yeah.
But I did one point. I remember her yelling at the priest, and we were going back to the car. And I said to her, Mom, didn't you learn anything in there during the hour mass?
Oh.
Because when you go to church, the whole hour is how to treat other people.
Right.
Yeah. And I picked up on that fairly early in life.
Yes.
That's why you go. To remind everybody how to treat others.
Yeah. It's love thy neighbor as thyself, and that's commandment number 2. And it's so important. And what I learned was the first 2 is love thy God with all thy heart, soul, mind, and body. And number 2 is to love thy neighbor as thyself. And if you do just those 2, I always say, tell me how to do that. What do I need to do?
Right.
Tell me how to do that. And he told us that you love him first, put him first in everything, in all things. And then number 2 is to love thy neighbor. Well, who's your neighbor? Everybody.
Everybody, that's right.
Everybody's your neighbor.
You've built up a lot of goodwill with this show and your connection to God and Jesus Christ, I'd like to take you to the track and see if we can spend some of that on who's going to win the 8th race today.
I'm really blessed.
Okay, let's go to the track and see how that works
lucky.
out.
I don't say lucky because a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm going to be lucky today," and I'm like, I'm not lucky.
My wife always accuses me of doing charitable work so I can get lucky at the track.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay,
and she's not wrong. But look, it doesn't matter why you do charity work as long as you do it.
Well, that's significant.
That's right. That's
It is
right.
significant.
Yeah.
And if you get blessed in another way, then so be it.
Payday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
There you go.
That's good.
Exactly right.
So it looks like in your bio that you also Marconi nomination for Personality of the Year in 2016.
Right. Nomination. Didn't get the prize. Flew all the way across country, and then they said, no, Mike and Mike from sports are getting it. Like, all right.
Well, you got to go across country.
That's right. Went to a Nashville. That's where it was.
Oh, my gosh. I love Nashville.
Oh, it's the best.
Yes,
Man,
I love it. I'd like to buy something there.
Yeah, you should.
I know. I really want to.
They probably have termites there. You can,
They do.
wipe them out.
Yeah, they do. But, I've been doing this 46 years.
Is that right?
Yeah.
When you said that, I thought that was wrong. I thought maybe you're at like 26. That seems impossible.
No, 46 years. And
Wow.
It's been a wonderful experience. And I like a challenge, and it's been challenging every day. Things are always changing.
Right, but I don't know how
life,
you
right?
do it because you have so many nuts in California who want to take away all your tools with how you get rid of bugs, but yet they don't want bugs in their own home.
That's right.
And it's a really bizarre. They do without not only in the termite game, but also in like air conditioning and plumbing.
Yes.
They're constantly changing what air conditioning guys can put into an air conditioner, what kind of tools you can use, and all that stuff. And it takes away their tools that they use to fix stuff.
Not only that, as this happened to me, is I bought an air conditioner, and it was 6 years later. And the air conditioner that I bought, it was new. They last longer than 6 years normally.
Right.
But something happened, and so I had 2 air conditioners, and the next one, it went on the brink. And they're saying, oh, well, we have to do this now because what you got there and 6 years ago, you can't even put that in anymore. And so now I'm thinking, oh, so that air conditioner that I bought and they're not cheap. And I ended up that it was obsolete, meaning they couldn't get parts for it or anything.
The coolant.
Because they've changed it. The coolant
Right.
is a different number and a different whatever. And I'm like, now I'm getting educated on all this stuff that I really don't want to know anything about. I just want my air conditioner to work.
That's right.
And my heater to work. I don't want to have to think about those things.
All right, well, call me next time because I got a guy that goes overseas and gets that coolant that they still use overseas.
Okay. And that's okay
Yeah.
for here, or should we keep that quiet?
Yeah, quiet. Yeah,
Okay.
keep it on the down low.
We're on the radio, Jeez.
They don't have time to go to everybody's house to figure this out.
Yeah, I'm blessed there too. But
right.
Anyway, so yeah. So
But I was thinking, because you were talking on the show, I was listening. I think it was last Tuesday, and
You were?
And you got a very emotional where somebody called in who was contemplating suicide, and they
yeah.
didn't because they were listening to your show. I think if you did nothing else for the last 17 years, that one call was worth it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it gives me goosebumps because sometimes I'm saying, God, is this really, who's out there?
Right, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like a one-way conversation. I love having you on here because I feel like, we can interact
Sure.
and everything.
Yeah,
because
tough.
otherwise, we're just talking into the mic.
That's
and
right.
you're wondering, what are they doing out there? Are they driving? Are they mowing the lawn?
Right.
What are they doing out there while they're listening to this show? And what is it, God, that you want me to say that's going to make a difference in that person's life? And that day, it was so strange. I was talking about something. It was a holiday season, and there's more suicides during holidays because people are isolated and they feel alone.
Right.
I know. I felt this way before. In fact, side note is there was one year where I was telling people, if you have an empty chair at Thanksgiving or Christmas, please invite somebody in because that person's probably all by themselves and they need some place to just feel warm and loved. Right?
Yeah.
And so there was a year that was me.
Oh, is that right?
I was that person.
right.
I was the person that didn't have anywhere to go because everybody was doing something else. My kids and everybody, they were all somewhere else. And so I'm like, wow. And I'm used to having everybody at my house. And so
Right.
this time I wasn't. And so I happened to have a lady, she was sleeping in her car. And I knew that. And she met me off the radio, and she reached out to me. And she goes, I have nothing going on. I said, come on over. So I went and picked her up from Ventura. It was an hour drive. Went and picked her up, and I had to drop her off. She stayed with me the whole weekend
Wow.
or whatever. And
She ended up
helped me
robbing
clean
you?
out my, no, she helped me clean out my linen closet and my whatever. It was fun. We had a great time. And I thought, I'm telling other people to do this, but now God put me in a place where I could do it, and the blessing was mine.
Yeah.
I'm thinking I'm blessing them, but really what happened was I was the blessed one. And it felt really good to be able to do that.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Normally, those stories end where the homeless woman wipes your jewelry out.
Right, and
Yeah.
it could. So
Right.
you have to be careful.
right.
For sure, you have to be careful.
That's right.
And I had a little bit of a relationship. It was over a period of time that I knew this woman.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So it wasn't just someone off the street.
Oh,
that
that's
I,
cool. Okay.
I
All
have a
right,
little
yeah.
bit more caution in my life than that. But, that's pretty funny.
Great.
Yeah, and there's been other times where I've talked about other personal things with my life, and someone will email me or whatnot. And by the way, this is Sue Fries, spelt like fries, one word.com. And if you're listening or you're watching live on Tuesday, if you need resources, if you need to have prayer, anything you need, I don't know if I have it. I am not a theologian. I don't have all the answers, so don't think I do. But I'm here, and if I can be of help, I want to be. So reach out to me and let me know what's going on. Nobody reads my emails except for me, so
Oh, that's good to know.
I'll reach out direct. So yeah, so
Okay.
if you have something you
I will
want to
definitely
share
email
with
you.
me, yeah, okay.
That's a great logo. Who designed it, and what's the significance behind it?
Oh my gosh. Okay. I was dating this man back then. I was in a wheelchair. I broke my leg. It's a long story, but he is a professional dancer, like well known all over the world, and we became friends. And he actually taught me how to Argentine tango on one leg.
Really?
He got me out of my wheelchair because I couldn't put weight on my right leg because it wasn't together yet. And so he said, get up. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he said, get up. And anyway, so he taught me how to Argentine tango on one leg, which was really so romantic. Anyway, so that's my story there. But he was the one. He's very artistic. Hence, he's a really wonderful dancer. But he's the one that actually designed. The butterfly is something significant for me, and the cross is significant to me. And when I was asked to do the show, it was Bob Hastings, who is now retired, but he said, I want to go to lunch with you. And I said, are you buying? He said, yes. I said, I'll be there. Where are we going? And that's a true story. And we get there, and my rep at the time, he sat down. I sat down for lunch, and then Bob sat down. He goes, okay, you ready for this? I said, yeah, why are we here? And he says, I've been praying about this, and I really believe you should have your own radio show, because I had been, since 2010, actually before that, I was advertising on Salem Communications throughout all of the stations that are represented with Salem, all over where I geographically have a service. Oh, 5 minutes.
Right.
And he said, I think you're supposed to have a show. And I'm like, okay, I'm glad I'm already seated. Are you nuts? Is what I said to him. I said, are you kidding with me? Are you joking? And he goes, no, not at all. I think you need to have your own show. And I said, all right, I'm working 16-hour days. So where am I going to, how am I going to fit this in? Number one. Number two is, what am I going to call the show? And number three is, what am I going to talk about? And he goes, you'll figure it out. And that was 17 years ago.
Wow, that's a great story.
It is.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so I
let
had
me ask
come
you
up-
the
Go
significance
ahead.
of that butterfly, because my wife has a connection to butterflies. When she sees
Really? Oh.
it, it's her grandmother or her grandfather. I'm sorry, her grandfather.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people have that.
I think so too. It's a symbol of resurrection.
Is that right?
It is.
Okay.
It's new beginnings. When you think about the butterfly story of caterpillar that goes in and does a cocoon,
Sure.
and then gets out of the cocoon, and I speak on stage and I talk about that whole thing, because we are evolving all the time, and we're metamorphosing all the time.
Right.
And we start out as a baby, and then we grow up, and things we change. Our lives change. And it talks about in the Bible, and it talks about you will be transformed by the renewing of your mind, one of my favorite scriptures, because it's our mind that creates our belief system, and our mind is what keeps us on a certain path. And if we don't like something that's happening in our lives, which I didn't like what was happening in mine, but if we don't like what's happening in our lives, then we have the control and the power to change it.
Right.
Just by changing how we think about it.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Okay, so for
Right.
instance, if you say, I have to go home and cook dinner, or I have to go take my kids to school, or I have to go to work,
Right.
if you change that to, I get just that alone,
Right.
go from I have to I get to go home, or I get to go to work. It changes the mindset so much.
Yeah, that's right.
Right?
Yeah.
So the butterfly for me is, I went to Israel about 5 years ago. I think it was 5 years ago, a life-changing experience. And I actually got baptized for the second time, and I did it in the Jordan River. And right before I got in to have my friends baptize me, a white butterfly flew by. Now, white is a sign of purity. And that butterfly went by. I know that was God right then and there.
Wow, okay.
God was saying, good job, girl. Good job.
Right.
And so the butterfly just means that to me. And every time I see a monarch, monarchs are special. Okay, it's the California butterfly. And milkweed. I'm thinking about giving my customers milkweed, because then if they plant it, then there'll be more butterflies in the world. And I
Right.
think that would be good. But I just love the design. And I have to give all that credit to a guy by the name of Michael Kim, who I dated for 5 years. And a wonderful dancer. He lives in North Carolina now.
You should have a shirt. I dated this guy for 5 years, and all I got was his logo.
Oh, that would be funny.
Yeah.
That is good, actually. But he's got a lot of credit for that, and I think it's a wonderful logo. I really
It's
love
right.
it.
But I think there are a lot of people that have a connection with butterflies, and people have passed on. My sister
Yes.
has one. A lady I work with at another radio station in town, she has one. There's a significant amount of people out there with that.
Yes, yes, there is. Do you like butterflies?
I do, but I don't talk to them.
You don't.
No.
Okay, well that's good. Is there anything you talk to? The microphone.
Yeah, the 3-horse. Come on with this 3. Come on with this 3-horse.
So you still like the races? I
Still
lived
go,
close
yeah.
to Santa Anita.
Oh, is that right?
I lived in Westminster.
Okay, yeah, that's just down the street.
Yeah, that 22 freeway. Isn't it like right there?
Yeah, exactly.
Los
Yeah.
Alamitos. I'm thinking Los Alamitos.
Oh, you're
I'm thinking of
thinking
Santa
Los
Anita. Where is
Alamitos. Yeah,
Santa
Santa
Anita?
Anita's out at the 210 in Arcadia.
Okay, never mind. Then that's not the same thing. Sorry about that. I got you all, Anyway, so yeah, I grew up in Westminster and Orange County girl, and now I'm a Lake girl, which I love. Yeah. So we're going to be back with a little bit in a little while, like in 10 seconds. We're going to be back. So stay tuned for part 2 with Mr. Tim Conway Jr. Yay!
Ding dong.
We know where to look, what to use, and when to act. Through environmental stewardship and advocacy, Termite and Pest Control protect people, homes, and businesses.
We know pests and what solutions are strong enough to control pest infestations.
We know what to use, with the latest options plus alternatives to eliminate pests while protecting valuable property.
We know it's more than eradicating pests.
It's balancing effectiveness with environmental responsibility.
Thank you so much, Ecola Termite and Pest Control, for sponsoring this show. You've been sponsoring it a long time. And if you'd like to sponsor this show, I'd love to talk with you. Why? Because, there's a lot of businesses out there that listen, and they might not think radio advertising is worthwhile, or maybe they just don't know enough about it to know even how to pursue it. So you could pursue it with me. And I've been doing it a long time, and I can tell you it's great. But you have to know what you're doing, because you don't want a radio station that has a signal that goes further than where you can service, because then all you're doing is creating this frustration with these people that can't have your service. So I know how to deal with all of that, and I know how to make it work for you. And I would love to be able to do that for you, pay it forward. So get in contact with me, Sue Fries, spelled like fries, .com, and I'll be happy to help you in that. And you could sponsor the show. tip your toe in the water with me because it's very inexpensive with me. And then once you see that it's working, then I will connect you to the proper people so that we can build this and you can get more business. Because, as a business owner myself, I can tell you it's not easy out there to get new customers. And we really want to educate people. I feel if I educate them, they're going to want to always go with us because we are the best and we know we're the best. So between your website and all the expenses and all the people you're dealing with, I'd love to help you out. So just let me have that chance to do that. I would love it. It would feel good for me. And you know where to get me now. So this is part 2 of a 2-part segment. And Tim Conway Jr. is with me.
Ding dong.
Yay, yay, yay. And we've been talking about a lot of things. We kind of just let things happen. And there is no script. There is no anything. And we're just going to keep going here. And I asked him if I could, get a little personal with him or something. And he
Anything
said,
you like.
Go for it. Just go for it.
One of the things you asked me, you said, what piece of advice do you give people, and what have you learned, from your mom or dad or people that that obviously gave you advice? Mm-hmm. And I said one of the things my dad always taught me. Well, 2 things. One, always be on time, never late for anything,
True.
and
I
nothing.
agree with that.
Absolutely nothing.
Totally agree.
And so I've drilled that into my daughter, and she now is on time for everything. And that's half the battle for almost anything. If you go on a date, you go on a job interview, you go on a doctor's appointment, you have to be there on time. You have to be there on time.
And you were on time today.
That's right. That's
Yes,
right. Yeah.
you-
Well, I
you were
actually went to
here
the
before
wrong
me.
building. I'm glad I got here really early because I went across the street to the wrong building.
Oh.
And the guy says, we don't have Salem Broadcasting here. I'm like, I don't know where I am. And I showed it to you because it's across the street, you idiot. So that's one thing. The other one, my dad taught me never to panic. It doesn't make anything better when you panic. So I've drilled that into my daughter. Don't panic, don't panic, don't panic. So 5 years ago, on July 6th, we have this massive earthquake where the whole valley is shaking. Huh? And I run upstairs. First, I'm in the garage, and our car is hopping in the garage. It's coming off the ground. It's moving in the garage. That's how much the house was shaking.
Wow.
I run upstairs, falling over the stairs to get my daughter to drag her out of the house because I think the house is coming down.
Sure.
I open the door. She's standing in a robe, and I go, Soph, we got to get out of here. Earthquake. And she says, I'll put something on. I'll meet you downstairs. And I'm like, yes, she didn't panic. I got through to this one. Nailed it. That's great. That I taught her not to panic, and when I was panicking, she still stayed calm. I thought that was a touchdown for me. But those are 2 things that I use all the time. Be on time and don't panic. Another one, though, is, people, as they get older, I'm older than you are. As you get older, you start to think every pain in your body is the end, right? Oh, I got a pain in my side. Oh, that's cancer. That's the end.
Yes.
It's over. And my dad always said to me, you got to stop doing that because if you think you're dying, you're only going to be right once in your life.
Oh.
Just once.
That's good.
Every other time is going to be a false alarm.
Right.
So stop doing it.
And that just makes you worry.
That's right. Yeah. You worry yourself to death.
Right.
Yeah.
And the Bible says, be anxious for nothing. Did you know that? For nothing. Be anxious for nothing.
That's right.
Yeah.
Except your Twitter account. Be anxious over that. I don't know. I woke up today. My Twitter account has been wiped out.
Uh-oh.
It's been wiped out. I don't know where it went. So I called Sharon Bellio, the producer of the show, and I said, hey, my Twitter account's gone. And she said, well, I'll call Twitter. I'll find out what happened. I said, no. I said, I was fine before Twitter. And now it's gone, and I'll be fine after Twitter. I don't need that.
Right. That's
why,
good.
Why would you panic over stuff like that?
Right.
It's just social media.
I don't have a Twitter account.
Good for you. That's
but
great.
I have Facebook. I got like 5 Facebook pages.
Oh, okay. All right.
2 Instagram, 1 for Ricola and 1 for me.
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay.
And I'm 4 a.m, I'm doing social media. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, I mean, we still have our social media for, the show, but I don't have a personal one.
Right.
Because, look, I'm a married man with a daughter. Why do you need social media?
Right.
You
That's
know?
a good point.
That's a single man's tool.
Right. Or single woman.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
Which I am.
That's right. You got to get that Twitter account back then.
Oh, really?
Yes. Well, if you're a
Okay.
single woman, you got to, I don't know if are you looking or what's going on.
If you really want to know, I don't think you were really asking, but I'm looking for a godly gentle giant to be my all in all.
Oh, that's great.
For, death do us part.
That's beautiful.
I was married 32 years. And
you got two great kids.
I have 2 beautiful kids and soon to be 5 grandbabies.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
One's in the oven. So I have 4 wonderful ones right now. And
All
then
right.
one in the oven, and my daughter is, I don't know if she's done. And she's 40 years old.
Yeah. I like how in tune you are with your kids. My dad, a little less. I remember I was home in high school, and I think I don't know, sick for the day or whatever. And my mom said to my dad, "Hey, Jamie, my younger brother, left his lunch. Will you take it to him?" And my dad said, "Sure." And as he was leaving the house, I said, "Where are you going?" He said, "I'm taking Jamie his lunch. He forgot it
didn't know
here."
where
And I said, he said, I said, "What school are you going to?" He goes, Encino Elementary. I go, "He doesn't go to school there." He goes, "Oh, okay, I'll take it to Portola." I go, "He doesn't go there either." He goes to Birmingham. He's in high school. And my dad's reaction was, "Wow, that kid got all the way to high school?"
Oh, my goodness.
True story.
Wow. True story.
Yeah. But you know what? In the 70s, dads weren't in touch with their kids. They didn't know what
true.
camp we went to. They didn't know what school we went to.
That's true. It's all the
You know?
mom.
That's
Mom-
right.
Mom took care of all of it.
Yeah, there's a guy
Yeah.
named Brian, I think it was Brian Regan, who said, when you fill out the emergency cards, sometimes they'll call the dad and say, "Hey, what bus is your daughter on?" And he says, "You think the dad has that information over mom?"
Right.
You got to be kidding me.
Yes.
They barely know the names of these kids.
Yes.
But they loved us. They just weren't, helicopter parents and in our business every day.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, my daughter, I said, because I was taught that the wife takes care of the household and the children and the shopping and the laundry and the dishes and all of that, I did all that. Plus I worked full time.
Right.
So I did all of that because I was trained that that's what I do. And my husband was going to work every day and coming home every day. No, he didn't come home every day because he's a fireman. So he was home 4 days a week. So, but my daughter now, I'm like, I talk about her husband because her husband's doing the shopping. Her husband does the cooking. Her husband comes home from work and immediately those kids are all over him.
Oh,
and it's
that's
the
great.
most precious thing that my kids didn't have. And it's very precious to see just how close
Right.
daddy is with kids. And mommy's with them all day because she homeschools. They're 6 and under, so
Oh.
they're not really school age anyway, but they're getting there. And she's homeschooling. That's a decision they've made. So
Sure.
they'll do without some financial material things because they want to invest in their children.
Yeah, but guess what was around before public school? Homeschooling. Homeschooling's been around thousands of years.
Right,
And
right.
so when people look down on people that homeschool, it's the exact opposite. I respect that more than anything.
I do too because, you don't have to be in class
Right.
as many hours because there's so many kids. How much time is that kid really getting?
That's right.
The child with a teacher. And how much individual attention are
Right.
they getting? Not everybody learns the same way.
Right. Plus, the senior prom is in the living room. Keep an eye on the
Yeah,
kids.
right, exactly. So there's a lot to be said about all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
But
like when
things
dad.
were different.
I like the reaction when dad gets home and kids run to him.
Daddy,
Yeah, that's great.
and they're crawling all over him and everything. And I'm just thinking that is just the best.
That's great.
They do the same thing with me when I walk in.
That's
They're
great.
just like, Gigi. And I'm like, oh, this is what life is all about right
Yeah.
here, right now.
That's
and
right.
it's amazing. It's amazing. And I just love them. I want to gobble them up.
Yeah, we were doing we did a segment on an old radio show that we used to do called "What the Hell Did Jesse Jackson Say?" where we play Jesse Jackson clips and people have to guess what
He's
what
like shaking his head, thumbs
what
up.
he's saying. And so I record Jesse Jackson's sermon every Saturday.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, and but before
Oh.
years ago.
Okay.
And we had our daughter in 2005. On a Wednesday, and I'm recording on Saturday, and he said something that changed my life.
Really?
He said, "It's not what you buy your kids, it's where you take them."
Oh,
And I took her everywhere I went. If I went to the mall, if I went to the store, if I went to work, the zoo, the track. She spent a lot of time at the track. I took her everywhere I went, and I got a sensational bond with her. She's literally, knock on wood. Find some wood around here.
Uh-oh.
She's not giving me any problems at all.
Right.
I mean,
That's so great.
she wasn't smoking pot or stealing cars or graffitiing up the the
about
neighborhood.
tattoos?
I gave her this warning: whatever tattoo you're gonna get, I'm gonna get the same thing.
So, how many tattoos do you
0.
have? Okay.
Yeah. I said, you can get a tattoo, but you also, the next day, you're getting an apartment.
Oh, you said that too.
That's right.
Yeah. I told my kids nothing permanent. So, like, my
Okay.
son would bleach his hair blonde.
That's fine.
But it grew out.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was my rule is nothing permanent.
Right. I also told her the same thing with piercing. So I don't know if you can see this, but I got my belly button pierced.
I don't want to see.
Yeah.
I don't want to see. Oh, he stood up and everything, you guys. If you're not,
Yeah, you got
if
my
you're not watching
belly
live.
button all pierced up, so it's a lot of fun. I'm one of the more popular
Okay, you
guys
made
at
me
the
laugh twice now.
at the country club.
I'm impressed. I've laughed twice.
That's great.
My sister's probably listening, and she's probably laughing so hard right now.
Oh,
because
that's excellent. What's your
because they're-
sister's name?
Darcy.
Oh, Darcy,
I have two
okay.
sisters, but Darcy's the one that I took to Stagecoach. And I'm going to Iceland with my older sister. It's Debbie.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Darcy's a throwback old school name. I like that name.
Yeah.
I had a friend in elementary school named Darcy.
Yeah.
Cool girl.
She's like, oh, look, he's saying my name. That's
Yeah.
probably what she's
All
saying.
right, so you've never been to Iceland.
No.
And you're going for 3 weeks? Or how
Yes.
long in Iceland?
I'm not sure.
Oh, okay.
Like I said, my sister does all the arrangements. All I have to do is get on the plane and pack.
Right, and you've done neither.
I've done neither.
Right. Okay. You haven't packed.
No.
And you don't know what you're wearing on the plane.
I have no idea.
All right.
Yeah.
What did you wear to Stagecoach?
Oh,
Were there a lot of scantily dressed
there was.
women down there?
I'm not kidding you. I mean, the bottoms are hanging out. I mean, they're.
Oh, yeah.
They're. It's like crazy. It's. Yeah.
And then there are also some women down there that don't know that there's probably a mandatory retirement for the tube top.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There was a lot of things. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's a younger crowd, though.
It is a younger crowd. I have to tell you, I performed. I was a performer at Stagecoach
Oh, I didn't know
for 2
that.
years in a row. Yeah, country two-step. And we had a group and we performed and we were talent. So I'd take my motorhome there.
Oh, that's
And
great.
we were talent. So going there as a spectator was totally, she goes, well, she would ask me all these questions. I'm like, I don't know, because this is a whole different venue for me in this role, because I'm not talent this time. I'm just a spectator, you know. So it was different for me because we had to walk like 25 minutes
Yeah.
from parking my car to getting in.
Oh, you're lucky in like 25 minutes.
I know. And
know.
my feet, my dogs were barking. I mean, I was
I get
just
it, yeah.
painful.
It is a young
You want to
guy's
look
sport.
good, but you also want to feel good.
I went to Stagecoach and I heard a pretty decent joke. What do you get when you play a country song backwards? The guy gets his dog, his wife, and his car back.
I've heard that. I've heard that because I do
That's
a
the
lot
only
of
country music joke I know, but I thought it was pretty good.
It is pretty good.
But I went down there to see Merle Haggard,
oh wow!
and I was a big
Okay.
fan. My wife was a big fan. We had a Merle Haggard song as our first song at our wedding, our first dance.
Aw, what was the name of it?
Oh, I knew you were going to ask me that.
Can you sing it too? Because you've got a great voice. I'm
First
sure you can
time
sing.
we met is a favorite memory of mine.
That was very good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Something
you.
like that. Something like that.
Oh,
And
wow,
I was
that's
pretty
cool.
buzzed at my wedding, so I don't know if.
Were you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean that. Look, it's a wedding. You know, it's not for the guys.
I just remembered my mouth hurt from smiling so much.
Okay. Right.
I just like my mouth hurt.
But that's
Smiling.
wild. So you were married to a fireman for 32 years? That must have been a very stressful life. I mean, every time he went to work, you don't know if that guy's coming home.
It was more stressful when the riots happened.
Oh, I
and
bet.
Because they can't have weapons.
Oh, wow.
Like police have a gun.
Yeah, yeah.
But they were like sitting ducks.
And they had a million fires to put out.
And-
Was he LA City or LA County?
LA City, and he
Wow.
was captain, and he had
No kidding.
He had a bullet hole in the door that he was sitting in.
Is that right?
Yeah, and they have no defense,
Man, it's tough.
so that's not
Yeah,
good.
right.
And you know, I just
When did he retire? Because I have a friend.
A long time ago.
One of my best friends from third grade, a guy named Steve Berkery, was a big captain for LA City. Maybe they knew each other. I
they
don't know.
probably did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's an admirable job. I respect that.
It's
Guy-
a hard job.
Yeah, it's very difficult.
You know, people think, oh gosh, they're just sitting at the fire station and eating and
no, they got to
watching
wake
TV
up
and-
at 2:30 in the morning
You're
and
exactly
go,
right.
deal
No
with some
sleep,
homeless
sleep
idiot.
deprivation, and
Yeah.
then they see some awful things that they can't get out of their minds. I was pregnant at one time, and there was a library that burned down or had a big fire, and he was the captain on it, and he was going down the stairwells to see if anybody was caught because the doors would automatically lock
Oh, wow.
and shut.
Right.
And this is terrible. it's just an awful visual that I had. He came home and he was just he wanted to see me so bad because he saw a pregnant woman right at the stairwell that burned.
Oh my God.
And it was awful. And he could never get that out of his mind, his vision.
Right.
And I just think, my son was a CHP officer and he saw decapitated car accidents where, things were missing and everything. And so he's got that on in his mind all the time.
It's also one of the
awful.
reasons why cops get angry when they pull you over for speeding, because they've seen the results of that.
Right.
With a family of 4 kids that did a cartwheel down the 405, and now they got to clean that up, and they get pissed that because of stupidity, these 4 kids are dead. So when you get pulled over by a cop, you're going, 85, 90 miles an hour. They're angry because of what they've had to deal with.
What they've seen.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
sure.
I don't blame them.
That's really good awareness that you're giving people so they can be maybe a little bit more tolerant about them breaking the law.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
How about, this is one that gets me every time, is that you're sitting in the second row in your car and a fire truck is coming down the other way. And you start going and you can see the fire truck and the people just stop.
Right.
They just stop.
Yeah, they don't pull over.
Right. And they're supposed to pull over. Now, sometimes you can't because you got a car on the right, car on the left. You can't go anywhere. But listen, driver, if you can, move over so they can get through.
And some
I
people
get
just
so
ignore the
frustrated.
fire engines, or the
they
cops.
Just do. It's crazy.
Yeah, it was odd.
So is there any other life lessons you've learned, because we go through, they say that we develop, like film develops better in the dark.
Right.
So do we. And so, when we're going through tough times, I've written 4 books. And in writing my books, I realized that my timeline, having the timeline, you have your pluses, like the things that you remember, like having a baby, for me, not you.
Right. Yeah, I get that.
But for me, having a baby, getting married, those things are on the positive side, on the upper side. Then you got your lower things that are things that have happened, okay, breaking my leg, things like that, that are down here. But by doing that, I found that most of my lessons, when I looked at my timeline and what was on the underneath the line, those were where I learned the most. Does that make
Right.
sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Yeah, because, people don't judge you when your life is going well. They judge you when, and, what measures you take and what you look like and what you act like when things are not going well.
Right.
That's where people judge
That's
you.
what they're, that is true. So in one of those times, was there a pivotal moment or an aha moment that, a story in one of your... I want people to get to know you on a different level. Is that okay?
Yeah,
we don't have much time left, but
100%.
I would love that. I would love for them to get to know the real Mr. Tim Conway.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I will say that I thought I was dying. This is kind of an odd story, but I thought I was dying. I was in Toronto, Canada. My dad was performing in Buffalo, New York, and I was going to drive to see him do a show and then drive home the next day. And I got down to Hamilton, Ontario, and I went to an emergency room because I thought I was dying. I was nauseous. I had like a temperature, and I didn't know what was going on. And he examined me. Nothing was wrong, but he said, "Go to this drugstore here. We'll put you on medication, whatever." And I go to the drugstore, and I'm sitting there, and there's a guy on a 10-speed bicycle. He had a beard, and he had gray hair, and he had brown pants and a brown shirt. And on the back of the license, it says "Jesus Saves."
Oh,
right?
Okay.
And I get out of the car. I'm sweating. I thought I was dying. And he looks at me and he goes, "You're going to be okay." And he got on his bike and drove away. I'm like, that's kind of odd. And a minute later, it was over.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? It's never happened to me
Okay.
before, and it's the weirdest thing that's happened. And I 100% believe that I got better because of that.
Yeah.
It's,
I got goosebumps right now. The
It's
Holy
great.
Spirit goosebumps, because that is a neat story.
I think that was Jesus Christ
I think so.
on his bicycle.
Can I confirm that
That's
for you?
right. Well, he had it
was.
on his license, so why would it not be him?
I think that's a great story.
Yeah.
So you never found out what was causing you to be nauseous and not feel
No.
good?
So I told my dad that story when I saw him that
Okay,
night.
and?
my dad said, "Let's go back to that drugstore and see if we can take that guy to the track with us." Big dog with that
you know
guy.
what's interesting is that, you've kind of stayed in the same realm as your dad, as far as being in the same type of business. You know,
Right.
you're both in this, and I think about me and my son, because my son is in my business with me.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I was thinking about that because you are like my son, because I'm like your dad as far as being
Right.
the parent.
How long has he been? Does he work for you?
Yes, he works with me.
Okay.
I don't want to say for me, but he works with me.
All right.
He's a top management person, and it's not easy.
No,
It's
I
not
bet, yeah.
easy. And I'm a mom, not dad. I'm mom.
Is his last name the same?
Freeze. Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, so he's in my commercials and everything.
Oh, that's
if
great.
you
How old
see
is
him-
he?
He's 43.
All right.
Yeah.
He's going to take over the business at some point.
Well, he could if he wanted it.
That's great.
I'm not sure he wants it.
Right.
I'm not sure.
And
You
then
know?
he'll sell it, and I'll take him to Vegas and show him how to double his money.
Okay. So, but is there any advice you would give him
As
as the child of following in footsteps, at least to a certain degree? You know,
Yes.
you've made your own
There-
way.
there's something-
I want him to make his own way. I
Right.
want him to be him.
okay, there's. I will say this. My dad was a lot more popular than I will ever be. Made a lot more money than I'll ever have. And there's something comforting about accepting total defeat.
What?
That's a great reaction. What?
I made you laugh.
That's the
mean,
best.
you-
I've told that. I've used that line hundreds of times. That's the best reaction. Like what?
Okay, I get the award for the day for the best reaction.
It's so negative and horrible. Like
Yeah, I know.
what?
I don't live in that world at all.
That's so great. I'm glad
I
you
just don't.
I'm glad
I
you
just
don't. And
don't.
proof of it you don't is your reaction to that line.
Yeah.
Like what?
Like, what? Okay, I'm in a positive world. There's got to be a lesson.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, we're down. We're almost done.
All right.
Dang it.
I'm going to use that audio on our show. What?
What? Oh my gosh. So be a blessing to someone each and every
That's
day.
great.
Thank you, Tim Conway,
Thank
for
you, Sue.
joining the Sue Freeze Show. And it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you and get to know you a little better.
Ding dong.
Bye for now.